Hello. Today's conversation is with the band Old 40. Their music exists at the intersection of psychedelic rock, southern rock, and jam rock. They have an awesome sound, and they have a new album coming out on March 4th, 2021, called To Spite It All. So everybody should go and check that out when it comes out. They also have a short EP available right now on Spotify called Moonshine, and they have a number of videos of their live performances online. So everybody should go and give all those a listen. In our conversation, we talk about what it's like to be a band in COVID. We talk about composing their new album. We talk about each of their own compositional and improvisational practices and their relationship to humor as a band generally. But before we get to that, please remember to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you would like to consider supporting my content generally, please visit my Patreon page. Welcome to Music in Mind, with Anthony Caulkins. Hello, everybody. This is Old 40. They are a rock band based out of Denver, Colorado. And we have all four of them with us here today. We have Jackson off screen. We have Steven, Zach, and Nate also off screen at the drums. But if you're listening to the stream, you don't care about that. How's it going, guys?
Dandy.
It's good, man. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Yeah, so I was
How's
looking.
the weather out there?
It's nice. It's always nice in California. So the band originally started in California, right?
You're
Is that
correct.
what it said?
We're originally from. Zach and I are from Truckee, California.
Okay.
Yeah, by Lake Tahoe.
Nice. Cool.
Mhm. And we came out and met Nate and Steven and became what we are today
Yeah, a blossoming barrel of love
in music.
and music.
Nice.
Yeah.
Barrels are known for their blossoming properties.
Cool. So it looks like on your website you guys have shows and stuff, which is amazing from the perspective of somebody living in Southern California, because there are no shows here.
Yeah, even out in Denver, they're starting to lift
Nice.
certain restrictions.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're about to do a little mini tour in end of April, early May.
Cool. Is that to go along with your new album release that's coming out?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Happy
So-
coincidence. We're also just trying to tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone will accept us.
Nice.
Well, it's not
So
Florida.
is it a full album coming out?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
On
10
Spotify, it looks like you
tracks.
guys have a full album and then a short album that you put out.
So the full album is from when Zach and I were playing in Truckee.
Okay.
And that was with our old drummer and bassist, whom we love dearly, but we had to leave them because they went to school to
Yeah.
better themselves,
Yeah, get a career.
Get a career.
Nice.
So we're thinking of, I think we're going to take that one down, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we're just a different band out here, I think. So, if we have the same name, there's not really much of an option other than to take it down and keep the other album on SoundCloud or something. Or
Yeah, somewhere.
I
else
know,
you wanna
yeah.
hear it still.
Yeah, it's still part of our roots. So, we'll keep that.
Cool. But the new album coming out is a full album worth of
Yes,
songs,
sir.
right?
Yeah, 11 total.
No,
Cool.
10 with one hidden track.
10
one of them's
asterisk.
Actually, one of them's hidden.
It's a secret.
How do you do a hidden track on Spotify? Just way at the end?
It just says parentheses, hidden track.
Yeah. Lets people know you shouldn't know about this, but we're letting you in on it.
Yeah,
Right.
You're part of the cool kids now. Baby
I feel like
doll.
streaming kind of destroyed the possibility for hidden tracks.
I know.
Right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Something I've always wanted to do, but it's a little too late now.
We tossed around the idea of just putting it out as a single, separate from the album, and
Right.
then we were like, we can't. It's just not going to work because if someone just listens to the single, it doesn't show them the rest of the album. So
Yeah.
This is a big problem with the Beatles catalog, because they have tons of songs that are just singles that aren't on any albums, like some of their biggest hits even. It makes their catalog kind of confusing. And then the different releases in the UK and the US, the albums are different.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah, and there's a million compilations for them too.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah,
yeah,
for real.
You have to go to the actual album to hear the actual album stuff, or else you're going to wind up in the best of the Beatles or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's cool. So is it sort of a pandemic album where you're writing it over the course of the last year?
Yeah, that's where the name came from, Despite It All.
Yeah.
Because we were
okay.
just, what were we doing? We were using Uncle Sam's money.
Yeah, we're recording an album.
Nice.
All unemployed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was employed.
Steve was-
Yeah, I was
Oh,
very
that's
employed.
a
But we
bummer.
were all laid off, like originally.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the first 2 months, pretty much with quarantine, none of us had jobs. And then I went back to work in early June. And it was basically like 3 people's amount of work at a restaurant, but and bar, going up and down staircase like 5 miles a day, I think is what I clocked on average.
Damn.
And then to come home, and whenever I was available, we practiced.
Yeah.
Because like we set the date to record. So basically whenever I wasn't working, we were pretty much in the studio.
Yeah.
That's great.
it's
Yeah.
just,
How do you
like,
feel about the
passed out in
deadline,
studio.
imposing a deadline as a system for getting work done?
Oh, for us as a band?
Yeah.
That's our first band deadline.
Yeah.
Mostly count shows and stuff, but yeah, as far as creation project, yeah.
Yeah, it's the first time we like really had a deadline. Yeah, because that EP that we have up on Spotify was real loose. We
That was
kinda-
impromptu. We won some
Yeah,
Battle of the
yeah.
Bands that's down at Herman's Hideaway.
Mm.
And yeah, like so we got like free studio time basically. And
Sweet.
decided, hey, when we be able to do this? Just went in like I think a week and a half later or something.
Yeah, the Moonshine EP. There's not even a click track that we played.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
really-
Went in and did like 3 or 4 takes at the most on anything. Just threw it out.
Whoa. I mean, it sounds really good for that. That's impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think our new one's going to sound a lot better.
Yeah.
A lot better.
Nice.
Yeah. I put a solid 2 months. Once I got laid off again after Thanksgiving, I was like, well, I think I've got enough of a time now, so I'll mix and master this thing. And
Yeah.
Yeah. Laid off
Solid.
again. Damn.
yeah.
That's bad luck.
I mean, not so much. Like I still have unemployment left over, so I'm riding out right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they're all working now. I'm the only one not working.
Oh.
The tides have turned.
Yeah.
So what do you all do for money?
Well, I'm a mover.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I heavy things all day.
Uh-huh.
And then Zach.
I work for a ski company out here in Colorado.
Oh, fun.
Then I'm a bartender server at a restaurant out here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's the day job, and then at the end of the day, we're all just dog tired, which
Right.
Steven understands.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
we all get it, but it's a lot of like. Last night was a very tired practice.
Yes.
Oh my goodness,
Very late.
we all worked yesterday except for Steven.
Yeah, I was fine.
Steven was fine.
Steven's ready to go.
Yeah, and then
It's like I
straight
couldn't leave
to
the house.
studio after work.
Yeah, like 10:30.
Damn.
Yeah.
I feel like being a bartender is hard though, because the best hours are also the best hours for playing.
Right. That's
Mhm.
that's the one big thing, especially because your jobs are over by like at least 6 p.m. or so.
Yeah, normal.
And
Yeah.
I'm getting out of work at like 10 p.m.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we make it
we
work,
make it work because we love it.
and we love each other, right, guys?
Yeah.
Steven?
Steven?
Sure.
Whatever.
That's cool though. I mean, the dedication to it is pretty. It's pretty inspiring. You do your grueling job or whatever, and then you gruel through practicing to make it happen. That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only way you make it, like, because
Yeah.
if you're like, yeah, it was a hard day at work, now I'm going to go home and, let's all cancel practice. You'll never get anywhere. If you
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. So
There's
what do you
pictures of
see
me,
as
like
making
passed
it?
out in the recording studio?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
What do you see as making it? What does that mean?
In my mind, it's just being able to live off of music and
Right.
tour around
Yeah.
and play shows.
Yeah.
Not necessarily being Rick Ross or anything like that. But
Why Rick Ross?
I don't know.
You just like pulled him out of the ether.
Because Rick,
Example of
look, if you listen to Rick Ross, you know that guy's got it made. He's
We-
got Maybach.
We actually
jewelry,
only do Rick Ross
O's.
covers.
I have seen the music videos.
Yeah. And that's his life every day. So in my mind, I guess making it would be Rick Ross. I would like to be Rick Ross.
I would like to, but if I don't make it there, it's okay.
Yeah.
As long as
Well,
I-
you could start a
I
cover
gotta-
band
I
as your
gotta-
day job.
Yeah, we're a Rick Ross
Yeah.
acoustic cover band.
Hell yeah.
See? Every day I wake up and I look at my vision board next to my bed and there's just a picture of Rick Ross.
It's either Rick Ross or different versions of Wonderwall. You know, the reggae version, the
Oh,
South
nice.
African, like, Afro pop.
A full Wonderwall album. Nobody asked for.
What everybody needed.
But seriously, success for me is that's all about I want like a following of people and like a community that we play for.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to play a show and see like 100 or so people who I've seen many times before, and just have like a community before,
Right.
Before, during, and after shows. I think that'd be awesome. And getting paid to do it
Yep.
would be amazing.
Have you ever thought about using something like a cover band? I don't know if this is a big thing out in Denver, but I know a few bands around the LA area that sort of make their money by doing cover band gigs at like yacht clubs and stuff like that. Sort of as a
Steven has
day
a good
job.
idea
It's
about
like
that.
in place
Yeah.
of a day job.
Right.
Yeah, that's like back when I was living in Virginia, a lot of bands did that. So I had an
Nice.
idea of like we should do a bunch of 90s songs, and I really like
Wonderwall.
Van Ween. Yeah, well, yeah, no, the good 90s, like all like because everyone thinks 90s are like, oh, let's play some Third Eye Blind and some Matchbox 20. It's like, nah, man, there's like plenty of good
Matchbox
stuff.
20,
Like,
holy shit.
so I was like, hey,
Like
what if, I
2000.
was like, I like Ween, I like the Butthole Surfers. What about the Butthole Wieners? You know,
Yo, what
sells
is the
itself,
good
man.
90s music?
Yeah, it's like it's like
Rick Ross.
if he came out in 99, he's technically 90s music.
Nice.
True.
I don't know.
I don't know. Good 90s music, I would think would be like.
Radiohead. For me, it's I think Radiohead is the best.
So how much time do we got to talk about this? Like, I'm going to DVA because I can just list.
That's what podcasts are good for, just long lists.
Well, Ween
Love
first and
hearing
foremost. If you got some 90s music, Ween's your go-to.
Mhm.
Like Dinosaur Jr., Meat Puppets, Butthole Surfers.
You've got Alanis Morissette. You've got Nirvana. Vanilla Ice.
Oh, the deep cuts. The deep cuts.
Baha
yeah. Baha Man.
Is that 90s?
Who let the dogs out?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I downloaded it on Napster, so I'm pretty sure
Right,
it's
me too.
90s.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. That's just, was it Bearshare, Kazaa, or Napster? That's a good indicator of what year it was.
Of when your band was out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I stopped doing it with Kazaa. I think I did it with Napster, and Kazaa seemed too virusy to me.
Yeah. And you don't want to give your computer cancer.
Yeah. What else? Remember LimeWire? I remember
Yeah,
LimeWire.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that one was like the real virusy one.
That was the first one you
Yeah.
could get videos on, if I remember
I
correctly.
think there was a knockoff LimeWire too,
It's like
which is even
FrostWire.
worse. Yeah, something
Yeah.
even dirtier.
Bearshare is good because they use VPN, stuff like that.
Uh,
So in terms of the composition for the new album, what do you guys have a process? Do you have a main writer? Do you write together? It's something I'm always interested in with rock bands in particular, because the way that I compose music is very solitary and it's sort of like notes on paper in my room kind of a thing.
Mhm.
But the collaborative nature of writing in rock bands, and then also credit, is very interesting to me.
Yeah, well, Zach pretty much drives it all on his own and just yells at us until we play what he wants.
Yeah, I'm musical Hitler. It's, normally, like we had some songs like I'll write lyrics and come up with like a little chord progression or whatever, but it's like pretty basic when it's coming out for me. I do mostly the lyrics, I would think,
Uh-huh.
and then I'll bring it to the guys, and from there we'll just start fleshing it out and thinking, oh, this could sound cool. What if you did this riff? And really kind of just all of us working together to try and figure out what sounds best. And then once we have like a rough outline, it's just
Mhm.
polishing that more and more and figuring out specifics, like, all right, when do we put in the solo and everything like that.
Right.
I don't know. It really is very much a group effort, I would say. It's not just one guy being musical Hitler, so to speak, and making sure that everybody is doing it my way, and you're going to play this bass line at this time and all that. It's much more organic.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's one song where Jackson's like, I'm only telling you how to play the bass on one song. It's this bass line right here. And I even still added a little like thing in there, just kind of make it a little mine, you know?
Yeah.
But that's the only time they've ever told me exactly like this is kind of like what we want.
Well, your bass lines feel very fluid and almost improvisatory.
Thank you. I get bored easily, so I guess I like to spice things up. Variety is the spice of life.
That's why we like Steven. He's spicy.
Spicy boy.
Because he has little witty quips like that.
Yeah. He's so smart. It just gets my motor revving,
That's what we
Right.
value here.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of writing, do you tie yourself to any particular sort of tradition? Like I hear a lot of I hear rock, I hear jam bands, I even hear sort of like Fish, Grateful Dead influence, especially in your groove based playing. A lot of the guitar chordal work, but then I also hear like Allman Brothers and stuff like that in there.
Yeah, I really like my biggest influences are probably the Dead and what is it, Allman Brothers,
Marshall Tucker Band.
Marshall Tucker Band for sure, like kind of a country kind of sound. I really like that a lot. But Steven's biggest influences are all jam bands, I would say.
What?
Ween's a big one. Like
It's not a jam band.
well, whatever.
No. Funny because I'm like, I like everything. I like jazz, pop, funk. Like most, I got started with funk, like and like old school like funk and like obscure 70s funk bands that no one's ever heard of. I'm all over the board though. I luckily when I was in college, I was living with a couple of guitar majors and like they always like did like jazz and stuff. So I kind of like peeked over their shoulders a little bit and got that side of it. But
were you a music major also?
Things like that. No, I was not. Two of my friends and roommates were, and then another one of my roommates, I was a philosophy major, and another one of my roommates was a philosophy major as well, but grew up with these guitar majors. So it was like we kind of had like a good blend between all of us. I was like literally like I play the dots or I don't play the dots on the fret. I went in with no knowledge whatsoever, but being able to keep up with them, and they kind of gave me the knowledge after that. But I do like jam bands though, but not as much as Zach portrayed.
You should see his bedroom. So many jam band posters, bunch of Fish posters.
Spread neck.
Oh man.
But yeah, so Steven's jazzy, Nate's drums. Your biggest influence, I would say, are like
Nine Inch Nails, and the Beatles,
cool,
and James Taylor. I love James
Nate likes really good pop music. Like back when pop music was good music. I feel like that's your MO.
Yeah,
that's a good way to put it. Yeah,
like Nine Inch Nails is industrial, but it's the poppiest industrial rock. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Sorry.
No, you're good. The drums, I feel like, got a little heavier once I joined because of those sort of influences. They're a little more laid back before.
Yeah, your drums are definitely heavier than the ones that we had in California. We were a little more like chill, jammy, and then Nate just started hitting the drum so hard I couldn't hear in the studio space, and I was like, "That's awesome!" And we just
that's really drives it.
Yeah, when you have to turn up,
come to you guys too.
Yeah. So all of them together are just really, I don't know. Again, it's like the group meshing and coming together with all these different sounds and influences.
Creates our own like more unique sound.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's the strength of a lot of rock bands is the kind of sort of diverse group of musicians who come together. It's a lot more interesting in that space than maybe a lot of like classical ensembles or even jazz bands today, where I feel like people are coming from very similar backgrounds. But what's also interesting to me in the rock world is how people learn how to play the music. Because in the classical world, there's sort of hundreds of years of tradition of teacher, student, and then conservatories and academies and stuff like that. And so you're learning a very set tradition of music. And then jazz, I would say for the last 20 years has been that. And before that, it was less. But I feel like the rock world is still like friends in high school learning how to play instruments together. And there isn't any particular structure. It's kind of like an anarchic system of there isn't a structure to how it has to be or how it's made. But at the same time, you guys are still writing songs with like verses and choruses and solos and stuff. It's not completely off the wall.
True.
Yeah.
It's like a blend of like, how can you express yourself and how can you make it, palatable?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I feel like a lot of people go like to one side of the polarize one or the other. Sometimes people are like, I just want to make palatable music that just I don't do like whatever sticks. And some people are like, I just want to be whatever I want to be and do whatever I want, and people like it great, but it's all about finding that balance between the two.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I want people to want to listen to our stuff.
Yeah.
But I also want to be creative with it.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's an interesting tension. It's part of why I was asking you about what success means to you, because there's sort of like you're saying, the one end of success could just be, I want to express myself in the way that I like the most, whether people like that or not, like the whole I don't care if you listen movement. And then I care if you listen follow-up movement or something like that.
So if I can make a sustainable living by expressing myself and making people happy, that's success,
Yeah.
And this is a very good avenue. Plus, you get paid to travel and the party, so I like traveling, so I don't want to pay for it anymore.
With that point too, it's like I would like to contribute to music history in some way. I'd like to influence how people perceive music, at least just a little bit for a moment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for me mainly, if I go on YouTube one day and I see somebody teaching a tutorial with like 1 million views on a Jackson Rolfe solo, I know that I've made it at that point. If somebody is tabbing my solos and my guitar on Ultimate Guitar, and I can just look that up, and look it up and go, oh no, that's not how I play that. Or
shit, mine was like just like anything, like a Reddit comment post, like, yo, this bass player of this one band's awesome. Like just like someone recognizing me out of the band. That's all I need, as a bass player.
I'm hanging up my bass after this.
I got recognition. Like what? They know my name.
Would you prefer if they tabbed it right or wrong? Like if it had errors in it that you could have in your mind, like, oh, that's not how I play.
That's a good question, actually. Yeah, because if they tab it wrong, then I'm still better than them, right?
Right.
Oh my god,
that's not the goal.
He's like, I'm happy, but I'm also like very upset in the delivery of why I'm happy in the first place now too. It's like, but you're like someone, you're like really hungry, like starving. Someone hands you food. It's like, yeah, but I don't like turkey. I'll take it, I guess.
Can you imagine that dude's like shooting a YouTube video and there's like a knock on his door and he goes, pauses it, goes over, and it's Jackson. Like, hey, I'm here to correct. I saw your YouTube video.
That'll be my thing. I'll just go to YouTubers' houses while they're YouTubing. Wrong.
Sorry, guys,
pick up their guitars, start playing it.
I gotta go to houses.
To do it like Gordon Ramsay, just super aggressive and belittling. What are you, an idiot?
That's not how I play that solo.
So in your solos, are they all written? Do you kind of carefully craft them? Or how much improvisation is included in your practice? For both,
I'd say on the album,
or for all of you, actually.
Mm-hmm. On the
Sorry,
album,
what were you
me,
saying, Jackson?
Like half and half.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was answering your question. Just about the. For me, it's about half and half, scripted and unscripted. Like some of the songs on the album, I wanted to feel in the moment, and I definitely had a general outline that I would practice at practice.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was in the studio, I just kind of got in the moment, and so I never felt lost when I was improvising in the studio, but I still like tried to capture what I wanted emotionally and technique wise. And then I had a couple of other solos that I definitely wrote. I'd sat down at my computer and just played it over and over and over again until I got every little note, every little like texture to each note. And I'd say they're like maybe 3 or 4 of those solos that are on the album. And I don't think they sound scripted, but maybe they are.
Right. Huh.
Either way, yeah.
But scripted can be good. I mean,
they're a mix of both.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There are great solos that are very carefully crafted, and it's sort of telling a story over the course of the solo.
Yeah, exactly. And that takes a long time of like trying so many different variations. I think, I just put things on a loop and I keep playing it until each part means something. Because if there's like a couple of notes that I'm hitting that, I'm like, why is that note there? Then I feel like I have to change that.
Yeah, but like if it feels like it's just filler for like for a beat, you're just like trying to get to the next part of the solo.
Exactly.
Like,
then why do I need that note? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you guys?
Mine are mostly improvised. Like I'll fool around like at practice and stuff, and I'll find a riff that I like. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds really good. Just tie that in. But like when we were in the studio, I definitely practiced any of the songs. I don't really solo on a lot of them. The ones that I do solo on, I definitely practiced a little bit. But it was more of like just kind of discovering that I like that riff and that sound and whatever it is, and then just putting that in there and practicing that and getting like them patched together, and then boom,
And then there's always those riffs that you find in the soul or in the studio that you listen to later, and you're like, "How the hell did I do that?"
Yeah,
but I'm going to keep doing that every single time because that's the coolest. Yeah, and then I've had that before where I have to go back and I have to like learn how I did it. Like I didn't even know my fingers could do that, but I'll try it again, and then I learned something new.
Nice. Yeah. What about the drums, bass, improvisation?
Yeah, I mean, for drums, I have a couple solos and songs. I do relatively the same thing, but we don't play those that much. But for writing it, I love the idea of keeping my drums where they are, like getting the part down, and then once I have it, I will play it that way forever after that. Maybe improvise a little bit at a live show, but I love rehearsing and specifically having to be like in the moment, hitting everything that I hit the last time I played it, and the time before that, and the time before that.
It's an interesting exercise in precision.
Challenge.
Yeah.
I guess with the beat, it's like mostly when I'm playing bass, it's like I gotta stay in the pocket, and so when I leave the pocket, it's like, okay, am I like kind of like giving a little like flavor, a little spice to like something Zach or Jackson's doing? There's like in Oklahoma, Zach takes his solo, and there's like a part where I kind of do like my own kind of solo with it. So I'm kind of like staying below Zach the whole time, and then when he goes down, I kind of finished off like one line that Jackson. Yeah, Jackson's like, you have to keep. We were just fooling around. He's like, you have to do that every time now. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But if like when I'm doing like a solo, it's weird because like I kind of know, I kind of just like let my like basal instincts kind of take over. I kind of like start just I call it channeling almost. I kind of like ride shotgun.
Basal.
Nice. But it's like just kind of it's like I know like what the kind of the rules and how the physics of music work, just what these are the sour notes of the key, these are not. So I'm the key, okay, this is kind of where I'm at. And I kind of just like let go, and I just like I'm gonna let my hand kind of just roll with it, and depending on the kind of song, kind of style, I can I just the back of my brain just like, I think I know what I want to do here, and I just let it flow out, and just because like I use a guitar wah pedal a lot on some of my solos, which just gives like a higher end sound, a little more fun with it, and just I play the good flamenco kind of style stuff and try to be flashy and just show off in a certain way, but like same time it's like it's kind of hard to do like a guitar solo on a bass, right? So it's like I still have to kind of keep it as a bass thing. So it's just kind of like a mesh of here's basically a parameter, like stay within it and just do whatever the hell you want inside of it and bring it back at the end of it.
But Stephen will also do a solo on stage with one hand, drinking a beer with the other.
Yeah.
So, flashy.
Yeah. Hey man, style points always count.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm interested in the relationship between sort of the free flowing, like you're talking about when you're soloing, or you're accompanying somebody else's solo. Because I have noticed watching your videos and listening that both bass and drums very much follow whoever's soloing in terms of energy and even in terms of pitch. Like you'll follow him up, and then drums pitch is a little bit more complicated, but you can still do a little bit of pitch stuff on the drums, follow contours of lines and things like that. But it's a very tight feel. And how rehearsed is that? Like, do you guys all know exactly when that's going to happen, or do you feel like practicing makes you tight enough that if somebody was taking an improv solo, everybody else could kind of feel it and be cohesive with it?
I think that's practice. Exactly that. Like when someone starts, trailing up the neck a little bit, they're going to go for it, and everybody else kind of locks and sinks in.
We all kind of we know when someone's going to jump into a big part.
Yeah, and that took us a bit to get used to. I remember when we didn't really have that, and like you guys would end the solo before I was done with it because maybe I wasn't showing you that I was going higher, or you guys weren't feeling it, and then finally we just picked it up, and now it works every time.
Yeah, it just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because like in Victor Wooten's book, for any bass players out there listening, definitely read that book. But he talks about like there's a certain thing that bass players can do when guitar players are taking a solo, and it's like when they hit like the peak of the solo, just start pedaling the root note, just start just draw it, and like it gives the guitar player two choices, either to give up or shoot for the moon. And once like they're hitting the peak of that, just bring it down like whatever key you're in, and just go down the scale and bring it down. It's almost like a whole communication of like it's an energy output of like, okay, this is it, or we're peaking. Okay, now we're going to bring it back in. So the whole band comes in. It's like, as a bass player, I feel like it's like my role to listen to when they're soloing and kind of, okay, Zach does this when he's like, going up, or Zach is like, does these little signature moves. And like same with Jackson. It's like after playing with him for so long, I can just kind of like hear what they're saying. And be like, okay, you guys are about to go up. Okay, I got you. Let me back you up. And I'll just shove him up. And then Nate just follows me behind that.
Yeah.
And we just kind of like give him energy to, boost him up.
And then a lot of the time I'll look back behind me at Nate's dreamy eyes and I tell him, I'm stopping. And Nate slows down and we end the solo. It's just like a glance at this point.
Yes.
He knows exactly when.
Yeah, I'll be like looking for it. As soon as you give me the glance, it's like we have two more
measures,
or whatever. And then we'll drop down into whatever other thing.
I just to be at the point where if I had a blindfold on, I could still play, and like anyone listening wouldn't even know the difference, It's like I like to get the point without visual cues. I want to hear like, okay, I feel what you're saying, right? I can hear what you're doing, and which takes time, Like we don't practice that specifically. Whenever we're like, okay, guys, let's do some drills, let's practice around. It's just after a while, just hanging out with each other, get to know each other, because it's a form of communication,
right?
And if you're not vibing with the band, it's not you're not going to like have that higher level of communication with each other anyway.
But it's really using musical space well. It's interesting the role of drums versus bass versus guitar versus vocals, and that idea that the bass's space is that low end. So when the bass is rocking just the root of the key or the chord in that really low space, it's opening up all of this, but it's also the most intense thing a bass can do. It's like in double bass, classical bass solos, the peak is usually when they hit the lowest note rather than the highest note, because they can't actually go that high.
Yep.
So that's like the power of that instrument.
Bass
versus the guitar, the power.
Yeah, I suppose I had to learn that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ripping up high in the neck. Yeah.
And those other notes.
Yeah.
And then what about the lyric work? So that's an area that I'm terrible at writing lyrics. I studied composition, and like I got out of school and I was like, oh, I don't know how to write a song. That sucks.
I can put one together.
Yeah. Right.
Lyrics typically, I don't know, I'll just be going through something or thinking of something, like, there's an emotional connection to a lot of them. And then I'll just have that on my mind for a couple days or whatever, and I'll be sitting there. And some songs I'll sit down and I'll write them all out in one go, just boom, tell a story or connect and have it all done. And other times, it'll be 3 a.m. and I'll verse on that topic will come to my head and I'll write that down. And I'll do that over the course of a couple days, a week, however long. And then when I feel like I have enough, I'll patch them all together in the order I like and keep the ones I really like, get rid of the ones I don't. And then from there, it's just tying it into the song and the structure of the song, and then figuring out the melody and everything. But lyrics typically come to me either all at once or in little pieces. But typically, if it is over little pieces, I'll be thinking about the concept of that song for however long until it all comes together.
Yeah.
Or we all play something and Zach just comes up with lyrics on the spot, and then we play it on a loop over and over until he finds those lyrics that he particularly likes, and we stick with it, and then there's a song. Sometimes we've written a couple of songs in just one practice session.
Yeah.
I mean, Bomb the Sharks was like basically completely improv built.
Bomb the Sharks.
Zach was gone, Jackson's Nate and I were jamming. I was listening to a bunch of Black Sabbath at the time, and the protests were going on, so there's a lot of like this aggression in it. And and then the next practice, like Jackson was like, hey, let's do that song we did last time. Like, totally forget what we even did. Jackson remembered it. And then Zach, because I was like, okay, it's kind of like a protest song in my mind in a way. And Zach immediately just starts spitting out the lyrics we basically have now and just refine them over. I was like, okay, this basically the idea. And then Yeah, the Bomb the Sharks idea came from me. How I remembered the song it was like this old Jaws Nintendo game. For some reason, like, there's a mini game where you bomb sharks, and it's like for some reason they're like, "Oh, let's call it that." It's just like this whole impromptu session of us just spitting around, and all of a sudden now it's on the album.
It's like
nice.
Our favorite songs too.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
And the lyrics for it just match the tempo of it, the feel, the drive perfectly too. Because
that all fell in line.
Yeah, and it's some of my favorite lyrics, like of all the songs on the album, all the songs on the album.
I really like those too. It's just the concept of the fact that I don't know,
Just fuck the system.
yeah, fuck the system. People are greedy,
That's
and
it.
when people go out, and they say America sucks or whatever country is sucks that you're living in. It's not the country. Typically, you go to any country, the people there are good,
They're
awesome.
other people.
Go to a
It's
local
just
dive, and you're gonna have a great time wherever you go.
Yeah,
But you go to the top.
yeah, it's just
That's
greedy
the one.
assholes that can't get enough gold for their dragon pile.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Jeff Bezos. It's just fucking that grinds my.
You said that into a microphone,
Yeah, man.
Zach. You should be scared.
Oh no!
It's in an AWS database now.
I'm gonna go to order something off of Amazon now. And just be part of the problem. It's gonna be like,
It'll go,
But
no.
nothing but like
No.
dildos and like
shepherd what you said, and now you're in trouble.
Your phone just explodes.
it's like a bunch of dildos and books about depression. You're like, I haven't looked up any of this stuff. What's going on? And you're just like, anyone who descends against Amazon, you just get the worst like
Yeah,
negative feedback loop products you could possibly imagine.
Well, bomb the sharks, guys. Yeah.
Bob.
Bomb 'em.
Yeah, do you relate your music to like your politics or your societal views? That's also interesting, sort of bands that sort of specifically ignore that, and music is more about interpersonal connection and fun and celebration. And then bands that are really focused, like somebody like System of a Down or something, where it's just like they're ultra politically focused.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't consider us a very political band by any means. Like, we're not Rage Against the Machine or anything where every song is about that.
But we do rage against the machine.
We do a
Yeah.
cover, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, which one?
I don't know. Like, my lyrics are
Killing in the name of.
Fun.
It's a good crowd pleaser for like the end of a show.
It's the end of the night.
Like seriously, almost every time we've done it, I just start with the bass line. Because like, once I do the dun, 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 almost every single time someone in the crowd goes, "No fucking way!" It's just
they
like
lose their
greatest
minds
feelings,
like that.
because no one covers it really. Oh yeah, it's great, man. Like,
That's fun.
Most of it's just personal lyrics.
Yeah, most of it's just personal stuff.
yeah, like what 3 songs on the album about your girlfriend?
Yeah.
3, more like 7.
No. I'm sorry, I'm in love, guys. I was in love when I wrote those. But I don't know, it really is just personal. Like, whatever
Mhm.
I'm going through. Like, even when we come up with lyrics on the spot too, it'll typically come from a place that I'm going through.
Mhm.
Oklahoma. Jackson wrote Oklahoma, and he sings that song. And what were your process for the lyrics on that?
Yeah, that one it's called Oklahoma, and it's about a girl in Oklahoma, and I've never been to Oklahoma, but the lyrics came that was like the most natural way lyrics have ever come to me. I remember we were playing in our old keyboardist. Yeah, we had a keyboardist, and we were playing in his basement apartment, and it was Zach and I were still new to the city, and it was just such a really genuine jam that we were having that it just, I don't know, it came to me at that moment, and I kind of tapped into some other feelings I had been writing about. Remember Never Alone? That's one that we don't play, but
Yeah.
it was another song that I wrote that I kind of just channeled that into Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is more of like a metaphorical song, even though it sounds literal. But I think in the future, I don't know, I like to try writing my own things in different ways, but we don't end up playing a lot of them because I started off with acoustic music, and so I have a lot of like Jack Johnson-y sounding cheesy, hanging out in your short shorts on the beach kind of songs, which we don't do.
There's a lot of problems in the
That's
What
world.
you do? What are you talking about?
which I do, yeah.
Gene cut off short.
How are the beaches in Denver?
It's true. Oh, so beautiful, man.
The Atlantic's right there.
Full of refineries.
Well, I guess if you could call like the mud beaches at the reservoir beach, it's
Right. Yeah, we got all
True.
those reservoirs. Oh, hanging out at the reservoir, that was fun.
Yeah,
We went out there.
Yeah, it was fun. I had a great time out there, but no, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
Whoa.
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding.
You can leave, buddy.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Hang out with Rick Ross.
He's a tour bus.
What is it? Yeah, me and Jackson being from the mountains too. There's some songs that definitely draw on just we both love being up in the mountains and being out there, and there's a lot of songs that draw on that too.
Horizon as deep as Tahoe.
Horizon is
Blue
as
is
deep
Tahoe.
as Tahoe.
The hair flows just like its waves.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very subtle waving.
So the relationship between finding lyrics and sort of painstakingly writing them, I think it's similar to writing music, and it's going back to that improvisation idea. Like I remember Cecil Taylor, who's like an avant-garde jazz pianist. I don't know if you guys know him, but he would always talk about how music just exists, and if you can kind of tap into it, you can kind of let it come out, and it's kind of woo-woo. But the idea that composition and improvisation aren't actually distinct practices, and they're both sort of about finding something. And if you're trying to find something, in theory, it might already exist.
Yeah.
Because we have songs that we'll like start to write, and you can hear that there's something there, but you don't know what it is. And then you leave it alone for a month, come back to it, and someone's got this like new idea, and then it seems like we had to find the song the whole time, like it was waiting for us to discover this part for the song to come together. It doesn't feel like it's like we have to write it. It feels like it existed somewhere, and we're finding it through learning some new technique that we didn't know a month prior.
Like with the pedal steel, I picked up the pedal steel.
Oh,
guitar. Cool. Yeah. It's not on this album, but it definitely will be on the next one. I got it in August, I believe, and I've just been playing it as much as I can. And we've definitely had some songs that were kind of in the shadows like that. And then when I started playing with the pedal steel, like "Am I Kind?"
Yeah,
I believe that was and "Fade On." Those are two that were that we didn't really play very much. And then when I had the pedal steel, it just sounded like way too right.
it just brought that missing element into it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple old songs like Honeysuckle too.
Yeah, in 400 Years Time, we've got some of the old ones from Sea Captain from the old band that were, they're great songs, but when we've got just two guitars, bass, and drums all the time for every song, sometimes they sound a lot alike, especially because Zach writes most of them, and he's got his own style. So when I throw in a completely different instrument, it can completely change the song, and it just makes it sound that much better.
Yeah, and it also kind of drives us to change the style of which we play.
We don't get stale if we start to change up what we're doing.
Yeah, that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, the orchestration of a 4-piece band like yours, it's an interesting problem that you just brought up, that when it's the same 4 or 5 instruments, if you include voice, or if everybody's singing, it's same 8 instruments. But if it's that all the time, it's an interesting problem about how you differentiate songs and ideas.
Yeah, and like the way, like when it comes to writing music too, typically like when I'm writing lyrics or whatever, it's like 4 chords just going, to kind of get the lyrics out more than the music. And then I'll bring the lyrics with that same loose structure to these guys, and then they're like, well, this sounds a lot like this other song. So why don't we try playing it, this way, and maybe in this key, and maybe hitting a different like beat or melody on there.
Right.
And then from there, with all of us really working together to flesh it out, from what it started at, it changes completely.
That literally happened last night. You were doing that song, and I was like, I think Jackson, both and I were like, this is kind of like pretty similar to like three other things we have, and then
definitely.
And then also it was like Jack's like, hey, let me try doing this, and I was like, oh, that sounds like that Satriani song, that the only one I like. And it was like, okay, cool. And, like, and then we just started kind of like messing with it, and all of a sudden,
always with you.
Yeah, something like that. And then it was like, okay, let's do kind of what he does, and how it's like the slow intro with no drums, and Nate's like, and all of a sudden we were jamming on it 20 minutes, and it's like, oh, it's literally is like went from a 4-chord Zach song to like almost like a completed song.
Yeah.
But then it's also the problem of sometimes we'll be writing something. It's like, hey, should we do this for a show or blah, blah. It's like, well, it doesn't feel like it's like all the way done yet. It just feels like the song still feels like it's a little incomplete and like,
it'll be like one piece.
Yeah, it's like missing something, And then we have a big board. I call it the power board, and it's like all of our songs, and like there'll be a list of songs we know. We rate them based on how well we can play them, and then there'll be like 3 or 4 songs on the right of it, which is like the structure of the song broken down. And like, okay, here's first verse, second verse. Here are the chord structures, and so we'll have like these like little jams. We'll just like call it something, just remember it. And then it goes into it goes into like the manufacturing stage on those sometimes of let's do some stuff if it has to. Sometimes it just comes together, but if we have to build upon it, and then eventually that gets into the list, and then we erase. We're like, oh, I think it's time we can erase the song finally. I think we know we got it down, and then we erase it, and then eventually when we're kind of bored, we'll just let's do that one surf song we were doing, and and I think through this process with all the songs they brought before, I think we're closing up on like 60 original songs on those at this point. So
like Living My Lie, we've had that for years.
Yeah.
And we have not found a home for it, for those lyrics. And then finally, recently we came up with Zach ended up just putting his guitar down and totally changing the way he sings. And Steven and I came up with riffs, and
the riff happened. Zach was like, Steven, how do you play psychedelic pop? And we're like, I was like, I just started playing a riff, and boom, that's it. Like that's became the song, like off the bat. Like,
hey, mister, how do you play psychedelic pop?
I'll show you, kid.
Here's a nickel too.
No fooling.
But it was just so funny how I just was like, I just tried to play like an a la la style kind of song, and then like all of a sudden like Jackson started playing along, and now boom, there it is, and sweet.
Yeah. That's really funny how sometimes it just comes together like that. And the stuff that we put on the side and that we work on, some of our best songs I feel have come from really working them out and not grinding, but really sitting down and figuring out what we want to do.
Even being able to admit like we can't work on this at the moment.
Yeah.
And like, putting it aside for a few months sometimes, and then coming back to it and being like, what happened with this? And somebody, has been listening to an album by some new artist, and they're like, they do this cool thing on there. I want to try something like that. And then suddenly that just blends into the song perfect. And we never would have thought of that before.
Yeah. Totally.
Cool.
It's good to put some stuff on there.
Yeah, and Nate's really good at being like, remember that song we did 3 months ago? We should bring it back up again. I was thinking about it.
Yeah.
You have the backlog?
I'll write those down on the board on her.
Yeah.
We'll have a backlog, and I'll be like, all right, I know it sucks, but let's go back over these.
I know it sucks.
And, maybe one of them.
We're like, fine, Dad.
Because Zach's is trying to do create 3 more songs before we get the last 3 down. He's always constantly just trying to pump something new. I'm like, and Nate's like, maybe we should go back on something else we've done before first.
Let's finish something.
Train's leaving.
We'll put it down on the board, but really, man, it's like we have like 4 other things
and then like an hour later, we're all jamming on it, and everyone's like, dude, what about this cool thing we could do? Like, see, if we go back over
I was right the whole time.
Exactly. Always listen to Nate.
That's great. So I also had a question about humor in your music, because you have the banana song on your website. I'm really interested in humor in music, especially coming out of like Zappa and stuff like that. And the idea that music is also silly. Like what you're doing is inherently silly in some ways, and finding a way to address that head on is very interesting to me.
Well, if you're not having fun, hang it up.
Yeah, what are you doing?
First and foremost, like.
Yeah,
true. But yeah, we definitely have a good rapport of humor amongst ourselves. We have basically a skit. How many skits do we have? Like
we just think 30 so
stupid
funny.
Skits.
Yeah. I think we're so fucking funny.
Yeah,
it really is. We'll be in the car on the way to the show, and we came up with this joke of, what was it, Whistle and Toots, and it's like a 1930s like silent act like in a movie, and it's like, come see the wonder of Whistle and Toots, and it's a guy who whistles and a guy who farts into a microphone.
Parts are funny, right? Parts are funny. Get over it.
Like
we're talking about like there's like a documentary and like Bruce Springsteen and Sheryl Crow are being interviewed.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm inspired by Whistle and Toots, and then like this big moment you finally see them, and it's just the worst thing you ever saw.
They started it all.
Yeah, it's like
It's stuff like little things like that, constant. Like we come up with stupid jokes like that all the time.
Like Jackson going on a date, and the three of us are in the booth next with all the menus up over our faces, and like every time he gets asked a question, he's like, "Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom." We all like get up at the same time and go meet him in the bathroom. And he comes back out. He's playing it cool, and she asks like another question.
So, what's your favorite color?
Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And we'll just do it for hours and hours.
Yeah.
We'll just beat these jokes into the ground, man. Like,
Lead into the music
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like some of our songs, like we have the song called River, and it's like a surfy kind of song. And the original lyrics to it, because when we came up with it, we were just farting around, and for some reason, we came up with the concept that my wife won't have sex with me. And the original lyrics went like, "My wife won't fuck me," and then like, but the song itself was like, the music was good. So then I was like, okay, well, let's actually sit down and write some decent lyrics, and now it's a great song.
The song is worth saving. Let's change the lyrics.
Yeah.
We sang it live in Aspen, and a group of about 6 guys over the age of 60 weren't really paying attention to us. And once this song started, they all kind of slowly looked over their shoulders and kind of giving us like a "what the fuck" look, and then they left. And I think that we either A, reminded them of what, their own adultery, or B, their own like personal life. Like, oh, last turn having said like they thought maybe we were like making fun of them directly because it's all about them. Who knows? I don't want to get in the mind of a wealthy person. Never been one, but it was just obviously made them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
And
It's just fun for us, and then we don't try to offend anybody, and we don't have anything that I think does offend anybody. But
do you
if it
enjoy
accidentally
offending
does
people?
Sometimes, then no,
Not really.
no.
it depends.
We like making
who the
people
are.
uncomfortable.
I like scaring the public.
Yes.
I don't like offending people.
Okay.
Punching up.
Yeah.
I'll punch up.
If I could offend Ted Cruz, I'd be like, that's a bucket list check right there. You know what I mean? Like, I made the guy. I made him feel an emotion. That's good. Like that's very the other day.
Error does not compute.
But even if it isn't Ted Cruz,
go back to the banana song.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, sorry.
Well, it was just on the offending people. The idea that is it better if your audience is feeling something, even if they're upset with what they're feeling, than if they're bored?
Oh man, that's
a
I mean,
huge question.
pushing ideas is good, but I don't know if we can express that. I don't know if we're that good at writing. Maybe bomb like that. That would be one that would kind of that would push things, but that's not like a funnier song.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah, my wife won't fuck me. And then there's Banana, and then we have one called 3X Wives that we don't usually play.
The Boo Bear Jamboree.
Oh, the Boo Bear Jamboree.
Yeah, half of them's my sisters, half of them's my aunts, half of them's my cousins,
but I ain't too good at maths.
I may have got the familial lyrics incorrect, but
no, you're good.
in the wrong order. But yeah. Then we have the medley, which is basically a I was gonna say Donna Henley, but it's completely incorrect. It's a Waylon Jennings. Yeah, because they're easy to get confused. Waylon Jennings song, and then we keep the same rhythm, and and then all of a sudden, like Zach is like, like starts doing like Gucci Man, or like Colt 45.
369.
Yeah, like, and we keep it in like a unk, bum, 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 bum.
And the look on people's faces when they realize what I'm singing.
Yeah,
I'm like, hey,
it takes a second.
To the wall,
and people love it.
Till the sweat drops down my balls.
Get to that part, everyone.
Yeah. And like, so we all go around. I do Bad Touch by Bloodhound Gang, and that's always
nice.
I've never, except for an old band I was in, like I've never seen anyone ever cover that song ever. So I was like, I'm bringing that one back. And there's times where we're doing that at Breck, and like once that part came on, people started whipping out phones, and like people started singing along, and I was like, I guarantee these people never heard anyone sing this in front of them since like '96. Like,
they saw the Bloodhound Gang.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in that style too.
Man,
but
I don't know if they toured.
But you were going to say something about the banana song. You wanted to go back to it.
Oh, the banana song. fucking cracks me up because
what's the problem with plantains?
It's one.
I'm saying.
Nobody wants to eat that shit, man.
Don't tell me
When they showed me that song, I was eating plantain chips.
Yeah.
I literally had
Dude,
like,
I
a plantain
fucking love
chip. I was
plantains.
like, no, damn it.
We're banana guys, all right?
I can tell.
And that's all there is to it. No more of an explanation.
Well, no, you're right. No, don't have to.
They're very starch specific.
It's just funny because that song's the one that people are always like, man, you got to get the banana song out. People got it's been stuck in my head for 2 weeks now. You really got to get out there. I'm
Nice.
like, really? That's the one? That's
People love it, man. And
it's just funny because, like, especially when you're playing in front of a crowd that people, you don't know, and you whip that out. By the end, everybody's singing along to it. But at the beginning, they're like, what the fuck is
Well,
going
speaking of whipping out, when we played in the studio, Zach takes his clothes off
on? Yeah.
because
gotta
it's
capture the
funny.
essence.
I just think it's funny to
Slowly
strip and
strips.
sing into
Yeah, he has his clothes. Yeah, he would always just start stripping when we're practicing, and he's like, "We're recording. Like, we should do that in the studio." And like, we're recording. I'm like, "Yeah, you have to because it captures the essence." So I have a video of Zach with his pants around his ankles and his shirt off, and doing like, "Yeah."
You don't complete the disrobing. You keep the pants around the ankles.
Well, the fact that there was a grown man staring at me intently from behind the mixing.
I don't
With
see
boxers,
what
with
we're
boxers,
grown
that's what
men.
he's asking with boxers on.
Yeah.
Wait,
Oh yeah, boxers on.
I was in boxers. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
wink,
not completely
wink.
taken.
Yeah.
But enough. And so if you listen to the Banana song, you hear him kind of laughing too. He's like, "You and me and with the banana all night long," and like it just kind of like it comes out, and we're like, "Should we redo it?" We're like, absolutely not.
Absolutely not, because it's a
And now when he sings it
stupid song
normally,
anyway.
it doesn't sound right. Like,
Is it on the new
Spend
album?
much time.
yeah.
Nice.
Wait. No, it's a hidden track.
Maybe it's hidden.
Oh
my God.
You'll
Oh
have
shit.
to look.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, that was fun. And then when we played in the public park, we played that song.
Hmm.
And I said, "This one's for the kids."
And then he stripped.
Oh my god! Oh,
Impeccable
to
timing.
any law enforcement officers.
There's a reason they left California, came here.
No,
Zach couldn't get an apartment anywhere because he has taxes neighbors he can move in.
no, we were playing that song, and I was like, "This one's for the kids," and all the kids in the park ran up to the front. I'm like, well, I'm not going to swear at all these kids, so I was like changing the lyrics on the
Nice.
fly. To try
Yeah,
and make
for
it
people
work.
who haven't heard it, it
Yeah.
goes, "Get the fuck out of here with your plantains."
Yeah. And
Nobody
I'm like,
wants to eat
"Get on out of here with your plantains. Nobody wants to eat that stuff."
Nice.
Man,
So I remember like looking at Zach and looking at the kids and looking at Zach, looking at the kids and being like, what's he going to do? Because I think it'd be hilarious to scream obscenities about
but then,
children.
but then at the end of the show, it was probably like not 10 o'clock or so. Like it was definitely later, and there were still kids there. And we were going to do Killing in the Name.
Mhm.
And I was like, all right, kids, cover your ears. Because I thought they were all gone. And then again, they ran up to the front of the stage. And I was like, you know what? If you're parents and you still have your kids here after that started, that's on you. And I'm sitting there just yelling, "Fuck you, I won't do it."
And they're like,
yeah.
like-
These kids are like, yeah.
And it's funny because I was like, they're all millennial parents, because it's up in on Tennyson, so it's like that's like the millennial area, basically. Everyone like their mid 30s
Yeah,
or
so
kids,
young-
right? So I'm
young
like,
family.
they all know who this is. Everyone knows this song. There's no way he grew up in the 90s at any point without hearing
Yeah.
this song. Like, there's
So how old
absolutely
are these
no
kids?
way. Like, they're like 4 and below. Yeah.
And they're already having problems with
10
their
and under.
parents.
Like
10 and under.
yeah, they're like leaving their parents to just like vibe to Rage Against the Machine.
Timmy, come back. Fuck you, mom.
Yeah, right.
Tell me.
Actually, I have
We're
a
like, well-
music student whose parents are a little too supportive of his rebellion, so it kind of makes his rebellion not fun.
Not rebellious.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Shut up, Dad. Stop helping me with my Molotov.
He's like Kevin Nealon in Weeds. He's like, "What do you do? Is he sticking to the man?" He's like, "Hell yeah!" It's like, "All right, son, keep going." Or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't remember the line exactly, but he just like because he is the adults.
Yeah.
Are you sticking to the old people?
yeah.
Keep sticking to the old people, kid. Like, I love it, dude. It's just one of those. I'm the authority now. Oh, how do I tell my kids to? I used to love Rage Against the Machine. What do I do now? How do I?
Yeah.
It's like the George Carlin
Used to.
conundrum.
I still do love Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet. So is there anything else you want anybody to know about new album, your band, or anything like that?
Jackson's single.
Yeah.
Jackson is single.
All right.
I want everyone out in the world to know that.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, I got you, homie.
Yeah.
If anyone in Georgia hears this, we're playing the Georgia Mushroom Fest 1st and 2nd of May.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we'll be out there.
Yeah, then we'll be in Virginia in my old stomping grounds in Roanoke on May 6th.
It's all on our tour page on old40band.com.
Yeah, go to the
Cool.
website.
Yeah.
We have a
Yeah.
website.
We have a website.
Old40band.com. Yeah.
Links there, they'll all be in the description. You can
Thank
all
you, sir.
find all this stuff.
I
Do
guess-
you guys want to try playing something? See what happens?
Sure.
Let's
yeah.
do it.
Why
I
not?
would say, are we technically working on our second album now?
I guess.
Are we? Yeah, yeah. Stay tuned for our second album, whenever that is.
Let's do one a year.
All right. Ooh.
Can you hear it?
You got some tasty licks there.
Piano.
Is that a flat top you got there? What kind of Les Paul is that?
No, it's just a studio.
Is that a heart behind you, by the way?
A heart? A harp. Yeah, it's a harp. My wife is a harpist.
Oh, what?
That's awesome.
That's tight.
Yeah. All right. Let me just make sure this is recording. Yep. Cool.
Ooh.
So we can really do whatever. We can just try and play around until we find something. If you guys want to set down a groove, if it feels better on your end, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, if we sit down a groove and you can play over it if you like.
What were
Sure.
you playing right there, Steve?
What?
What was that? Were you just playing?
That was me.
Oh, that sounds.
Well, I'm sitting here in Denver, watching the sun break down. Oh yeah, I'm sitting here in Denver, watching the sun break down. You will know it from last way. It seems like spring's coming down. It's just coming. start turning black. They're turning black. Can you hear me on the radio? Yeah, can you hear me on the radio? Can you hear me on the radio? Can you hear me on the radio? All these harmonies are coming in pairs of threes now, don't you know? Yeah, don't you know?
Nice. That was pretty tight.
Yeah.
Sweet. It kind of worked.
Yeah, better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely with the Zoom latency thing. I was like, I'm really interested to see how it's going to be jamming, but it sounded pretty good.
Yeah, I kind of like the way it works if one side sets down a groove and the other side plays as if they think they're locked into it, because then you get a whole new rhythmic world that you have no idea what it's going to sound
Right.
like, but it's slightly off, but it's kind of cool. It always ends up being cooler than I think it'll be.
Yeah, latency has never been an issue with this. Like a friend of mine a long time ago was trying to corner the market on how I gotta make a jamming network so way so people can play over the internet. I'm like, man, it's gonna be a long time coming. The internet's gotta upgrade first.
Yeah, everybody needs fiber.
I know. It's like I appreciate the idea, man, but man, that'll be great.
Because like you were saying, Twitch and Discord, they're pretty low latency.
Yeah, Discord I think is the lowest latency chat program out there. But unless you throw the video on, I'm gonna drop it down to
Gotcha.
But Discord's great for that.
There are some open source uncompressed super low latency audio programs that exist, but they don't have interfaces. You have to run them through the terminal. But a professor at UC San Diego created them a few years ago, and I've tried a few concerts. I did one between Irvine and San Diego, and then one between Irvine and Zurich and Jakarta, maybe.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it works. It's just really, really hard to use. So
Right. Gotcha.
Okay.
Here's your
Come on, Elon
software.
Musk. Let's go, man.
Yep. Here's your software. Here's the 500-page manual. If you don't read it, it will not work.
You also need the appropriate hardware, but it's not an interface, like you said. So already, like,
Yep.
man.
And you have to be on like a fiber optic network. I mean, the whole thing. It's,
Right.
Oh yeah.
home networks don't work.
Gotcha.
I'm out. Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah. Can't do it.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us. man. This was awesome.
Yeah, it was fun to get to know your music over the last couple of weeks, listening to what you guys have done. I'm excited about the new album. What's it called?
To Spite It All.
To Spite It All. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Not the number 2.
And not despite it all.
Yeah. Do you have a Facebook page or anything? We can like when you come out with the podcast, we can post
Yes.
it on our Facebook
Yep.
too. So
Yeah. I saw your guys' social media. I'll like everything so that we can coordinate. I'll probably have it out in hopefully late this week, if not early next week, depending on
Okay.
the editing process. And then what I usually do is I'll usually clip out some segments as promos and send them out.
Cool.
And then
Yeah,
I'll clip out the jam separately so that people can
We
listen
can
to that.
definitely set up some info
Okay.
on our merch table too for our show. Or
Oh, cool.
album release on Thursday.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
definitely
cool.
Link people up so when they come up, they can see that, hey, we got podcast with you. So
Funnel some
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Denver people.
Mm-hmm.
Denverites, Denveronians,
Denverites.
Denverites.
Denver
Is that what it is? Denverites?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what the westward says, and apparently that's
Denver,
that's
that's the
Denver
word.
law. Like
Well,
whatever comes out the
Now
westward.
now it's law.
Yeah.
If you try to say something else, you're gonna get arrested.
God damn.
Hey, the police need a reason to kick down your door, and they can't do it for weed anymore. So they got to segue into
Gotta
it.
find something else, yeah.
I'll be damned if we can't get it.
We bought all this tactical equipment. Damn it!
Yeah, there's not much crime going on. They're really bored.
First they legalize pot, then they decriminalize mushrooms. How are we going to get in the people's houses?
The hippies won.
Oh man.
Well, thanks again, man.
Yeah, really,
Yeah,
thank
cool.
you so much. It's been so
So-
much fun.
Everybody, if check out their tour dates. If you are in a city they're going to, go out and see them and be on the lookout for the new album. It's Old 40. Thanks so much, guys. All right. Thanks for listening or watching. Remember to check out Old 40's new album dropping on March 4th called To Spite It All. And in the meantime, be sure to listen to their EP Moonshine, available on Spotify and other streaming services. And remember to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channels. And if you would like to consider supporting my content generally, please visit my Patreon page. Bye.